For 400 years, the Zarkelian Empire ruled the stars with fire and fear. Planet after planet, they crushed all resistance. Their warships moved like shadows, their weapons cut through shields like paper, and their soldiers tall armored and silent were known only as the Flame Guard. No empire had ever defeated them. No fleet had ever survived an encounter. Too many across the galaxy, the Zarkelians were not just powerful, they were untouchable. Their enemies vanished, their names forgotten, buried under dust and fire. When the Zarkelian Council received reports of a small planet named Earth, they didn't react with concern. Instead, they laughed. The scout report showed humans were primitive, late to space travel, still trying to build stable colonies beyond their solar system. They still breathe oxygen, one commander joked, sipping from a silver cup. Let us show them what real power looks like. The high strategist of the Flame Guard gave a short nod. Send one battlecruiser, that will be enough. But one old admiral, gray-skinned and tired, did not laugh. He stared at the image of Earth's blue oceans and whispered, that planet had survived a nuclear winter. They killed their own skies and still lived. No one listened to him. 3 days later, the Zarkelian cruiser Varnix Edge jumped to the edge of the Sol system. Its black armor shined like polished stone. Inside, hundreds of elite soldiers stood ready. The mission was simple. Enter Earth space, scan for defenses, and issue a surrender demand. They expected silence or fear. Instead, they heard nothing. No response to hails, no defensive ships, not even satellites. The captain of the Varnix Edge frowned. They've abandoned the system, or they're hiding, said the communications officer. He turned to the crew. Send scout drones. Search the third planet Earth. 10 drones launched, moving fast and low into Earth's upper atmosphere. They vanished one by one. Number 2. Alarms, no explosions, just quiet, then static. The captain sat still for a moment. Then, calmly, he ordered, land a drop team near one of their old outposts. Find out what happened. The dropship descended slowly, its armor shields glowing red from atmospheric entry. Below, forests covered the old Earth terrain. No cities, no roads, just wild green land. The squad touched down in a field beside a broken human structure. The air was clean. Too clean, the Zarkelian soldiers spread out, weapons ready. There were no signs of life, no power, no movement. Inside the building, only dust and rusted metal. But on the wall, written in English, was one clear message. We are watching. The squad leader paused. Is this a joke? Another soldier pointed to a strange device in the corner, blinking cube made of black metal. It wasn't Zark, but it wasn't primitive either. Before anyone could touch it, the cube flashed once. Every Zarkelian helmet lost signal. Their HUDs turned black. Their comms died. They reached for backup radios. Those were dead too. Then came the sound. Not a weapon, not a voice, just footsteps. One at a time. Slow, heavy. From outside the structure, something walked toward them, but thermal scans showed nothing. Motion, scans showed nothing. Identify yourself, the squad leader shouted. Silence. A second later, the lights went out. All of them. When the recovery team arrived 5 hours later, they found the dropship still running, weapons still charged, but no sign of the team. No bodies, no damage. Only the message, now glowing. We are here. Back on the Varnix Edge, the captain stared at the report. His crew looked nervous. This doesn't make sense. One officer whispered, how can they hide from us? The captain stood, his voice calm but sharp. They can't hide. They're human. They must be weak. But deep inside, something else stirred. Not fear, not yet. Just a question. Who were these Terrans really? And why were they not afraid? Asterisk. The stars above Earth shimmered quietly, as if pretending nothing had changed. But deep in orbit, the battlecruiser Varnix Edge was no longer silent. Lights blinked red. Crew members moved quickly, speaking in low, tense voices. For the first time in centuries, a full Zarkelian squad had gone missing without explanation. No explosion, no broadcast. Not even a distress signal. The captain stared at the empty feed from the ground team. Static lines danced across the screen. Their suits were the best. Fully shielded, linked by direct signal. This should be impossible. The ship's communications officer leaned in. Sir, we tried re-establishing contact. Nothing. It's as if the outpost itself is blocking us. Impossible. Another said, Earth has no such tech. We scanned their databases long ago. The captain tapped the console slowly. Unless they were hiding more than we expected. He turned to the second in command. Prepare Unit 3, but this time, send in air scouts first. I want visuals before we land anyone else. 12 silent drones, each smaller than a person but packed with sensors, dropped toward the Earth's surface. They flew low, circling the forested region where the squad disappeared. No life signs appeared. No radiation, just trees, wind, and broken ruins. Then one of the drones saw something strange markings on the ground. Large, circular burn patterns with a symbol in the center. It looked like a bird of prey made from silver lines. Under it were 4 simple words. Terran Recon was here. The drone sent the image back, and right after, the feed cut out. All 12 drones gone in a flash, not destroyed, not jammed, just disconnected, like someone had reached into space and turned them off. The captain stood up. Enough games, we'll go ourselves. 10 squads, full shields, maximum alert. The dropships launched again, this time with heavier soldiers. They landed around the region in a wide circle, covering over 100 kilometers of Earth terrain. The plan was simple: move inward, close the net, and find whoever or whatever was inside. Each squad moved carefully, step by step, scanning every tree, every sound. Their boots crushed leaves that hadn't been touched in years. Some areas looked strangely clean to clean, as if someone had been there just moments before. One squad found a small drone's Archelian tech, but it had been opened, not destroyed, on wires neatly pulled, data crystal missing, armor untouched. Another squad came across something even stranger. A metal box, with blinking green lights, half buried in the soil. When they touched it, a voice spoke not in Zarkelian but in perfect, clear standard Galactic. You're looking for ghosts, but the ghosts already know your names. The soldiers froze. How did they know their names? Their mission? And Alton. Across the squad screens, one word appeared. Again and again. Not from their system, not from their command center. Observed. Suddenly the sky above them shifted, not darkened, but changed. A shimmer passed across the clouds like a ripple. In water, and in that shimmer, for just one moment, they saw outlined shapes that did not belong. Figures, dozens of them, motionless, watching. Then they were gone. The squad leaders reported it instantly. The captain, hearing it all, felt something cold. At the back of his neck, something unfamiliar. The officer beside him whispered, "Sir, permission to return to orbit." He did not respond. On the ground, another strange event occurred. A Zarkelian soldier, isolated by terrain, found a small panel built into a rock. Human tech. He knelt, inspecting it. It didn't look threatening. When he pressed a button, a small screen lit up. A human face appeared, calm, unafraid. The man looked directly into the soldier's helmet feed. "Why did you come here?" he asked simply. The soldier said nothing. The man continued, "We watched you take worlds, break them, rule them. You think we're the same. We're not." Then the screen turned off. When the soldier stood, the panel was gone, as if it had never been there. The captain received the final message an hour later, sent directly to the bridge of the Varnix's edge. No ship in orbit had detected any transmissions. The message read, "We didn't ask for war, but we are not alone, and we never were." The captain stared at the words. His voice barely left his throat. They were ready for us. And somewhere far below, in the quiet forests of Earth, something moved just out of sight, watching, waiting. The trees stood tall and silent, as if guarding something ancient and unseen. A soft wind blew through the forest, carrying the smell of wet earth and old secrets. But for the Zarkelian squad scattered across the ground, there was no peace, only questions. Each step deeper into Earth's wild lands seemed to bring more silence, more unease. Their boots left marks on untouched soil, but no tracks followed behind. The scanners worked, but never picked up more than their own signals. Nothing living, no threats. And yet, they were sure something was near. One squad led by Commander Rallick advanced into a fog-covered area. The mist wasn't natural. It had shape, pattern, almost like it moved with a mind of its own. Rallick paused, raising a hand. Thermals? Negative motion. Nothing. Then they heard it. A soft hum, faint, not mechanical, almost like a whisper of energy through metal. Rallick turned slowly. His squad stood ready, their weapons pointed in all directions. Nothing moved. Still, the feeling remained. Then the fog shifted, and for a heartbeat they saw something. A shape, not a full figure, just the edge of something. Humanoid, cloaked in shimmering air, moving like water around its body. It didn't run, it didn't hide, it simply stood and watched. Rallik raised his weapon. Identify. But before he could blink, it was gone. No trace, no sound. All across the landing zone, similar sightings were reported. Zarkelian soldiers glimpsed figures through trees, heard footsteps that left no tracks, shadows that moved in the wrong direction. None of their advanced armor could lock on. None of their weapons could trek. Back on the Varnix's edge, tension grew. "These aren't tricks," one officer whispered. "They're deliberate." The captain didn't answer. He stood at the front display watching a live map of all ground. Squads. A few minutes later, a red icon blinked, then another, then 4 more. "Reports," the tactical officer replied, voice tight. "No fire, no signal loss, just." They stopped responding. The captain's eyes narrowed. "Locate last known coordinates." On the ground, the story was worse. Squad 5 had entered an old bunker. Inside, it was silent, clean, not abandoned, maintained, but no one lived there. Lights still worked. Doors opened automatically. Someone had been there recently. Then, the door behind them shut. Not slammed. Just clicked softly. The air went cold. Their coms went black, and then, voice. It echoed through their helmets, not from speakers. From inside their own systems. "You are being tested." They fired at the walls. Nothing broke. The lights dimmed, then returned. The door opened again, but one of the soldiers was gone. No scream, no sign. Just his rifle left standing, upright, untouched. By the time the rest of the squad made it outside, the fog had returned. But now, it wasn't natural. It pulsed. It glowed faintly, like it was watching another squad sent a data feed up to the ship. It showed a video only 12 seconds long. A figure in Terran armor, entirely black, standing in the open, not hiding, not moving. The camera zoomed, but the figure seemed to blur. Then in a blink, it vanished. And a new line of text appeared across the feed. He sees you. The message wasn't from Earth. It wasn't from the Terran soldier. It came through the Zarkelian system, using their own encryption. Later that evening, something stranger happened. The sun dipped low. Shadows stretching across the trees. Squad 9 found something buried beneath an old human campsite, a black box. Inside was a message chip, ancient but preserved. They played it. A human voice began to speak. I am Terran Recon, Unit 7, codename Dane Keller. The name didn't exist in any known database. You invaded Earth thinking it was alone. It's not. The voice remained calm, unshaken. You think because you are many, we will fear you. But numbers do not matter in the shadows. Here one can become an army. The recording stopped. For a long moment, the Zarkelian soldiers stood, frozen. They weren't sure if it was a threat or a warning. But one thing was clear. Earth had been ready. Back in orbit, the captain received a second message. No sound, just a symbol. A circle. Inside it, a bird of prey. The same symbol found earlier on the ground, but now pulsed with light. The symbol slowly expanded, revealing a phrase in Terran script. You were seen before you arrived. For the first time, the captain felt it. Not anger, not confusion, but something deeper. The realization that the hunters were not the Zarkelians, they were being hunted, and Earth had not yet revealed its full hand. Asterisk. The Zarkelian command had seen many strange things across the galaxy, worlds with living storms, species that communicated through light, even planets with time that flowed backward in sections. But none of those mysteries had ever made their soldiers vanish without a trace. Until Earth. Now, 3 entire squads were missing. No confirmed losses, no battles, just gone. Their feeds stopped. Their signals ended. Their armor, weapons, and gear remained. But the people, silent. Inside the command bridge of the Varnix Edge, the captain stood without speaking. Screens around him flickered with satellite scans, terrain feeds, and echolocation maps. All showed the same thing. No enemy formations, no human troops. Nothing but silence. And something moving just out of reach. Sir, said the lead data officer, we've detected unusual activity inside one of their old military towers, located near a large mountain range. It's been recently powered. The captain turned. Who activated it? No signs of a transmission. It just turned on, and there's something else. A name was logged into the access system. The screen flashed. 4 words appeared. Dane Keller, active duty, no record. No known background. The name had only been spoken once through a recorded message in the forest. Yet it was now appearing in live Earth systems, as if he was part of something still running. The captain's voice dropped low. Send a squad. I want that tower. Secured. Now. On the ground, the Zarkelian squad moved toward the coordinates. The structure was tall, sharp-edged, with antennas reaching into the sky like frozen metal fingers. The Earth's sun cast long shadows as the team approached. No doors, just a small scanner beside a wall panel. One soldier reached out. The scanner lit up green without needing input. The door slid open on its own. Inside was empty. Clean air smelled like ozone and steel. Lights glowed dimly along the walls. As the squad spread out, one of them found something carved into the wall. Not etched by tools but burned, carefully, with precision. It said, when they come, show them. Beside it, a screen blinked to life. And then, a face appeared. The same man from the recording. Short, dark hair, calm eyes, expression unreadable. I see you made it, he said, as if speaking live. The soldiers froze. The feed was real. No signal was sent. The image just appeared, like it had been waiting, curious. The man asked. No one answered. You wanted to know what Terrans are? You thought we were behind the others. You saw numbers and assumed weakness. That's what your empire always does. He leaned forward slightly. But humans are different. We don't need to outnumber you. We adapt. We endure. And we learn. The screen went black. The room suddenly filled with a low hum, deep and steady, like something massive awakening far below the Earth. One soldier whispered, is that a weapon? But no alarms sounded. No systems showed danger. Instead, the floor, under their feet shifted. It wasn't an explosion. It was a lift. The room itself moved downward fast. A hidden elevator, silent and smooth, taking them deeper into the Earth. When it stopped, the doors opened into a long corridor lined with old Terran tech, black steel, humming lights, and panels filled with unreadable codes. They stepped out cautiously. In the distance, at the far end, they saw a figure, standing alone. Terran armor. Full black egg. No insignia, no rank, just the outline of a soldier motionless facing them. They raised weapons, but the figure didn't move. One soldier scanned the area. No heat, no life signs, but it's there. Another stepped forward. Identify yourself. Nothing. Then the lights above flickered once, and a voice came not from the figure, not from the air but from inside their helmets, same as before. Dane Keller. The figure began walking slowly toward them. Still no heat. Still no life signs. Yet its steps echoed like thunder through the corridor. The squad retreated slightly, unsure. Their leader raised his weapon again. Stop. The figure paused, then turned, and behind it a door opened, showing a chamber filled with databanks, maps, and old mission logs. But they weren't from now. They were from hundreds of years ago, all labeled Terran Ghost Unsta. Logs played silently. Humans landing on distant moons with zero support, operating alone for months, behind enemy lines, fighting without recognition, winning battles that were never officially recorded. All without being seen. And the last file showed a single name on the final screen. Dane Keller. Status operational. The squad's leader turned to the black armored figure. What are you? A moment passed, then the voice returned one more time. The reason you'll leave this planet. If you're lucky. The lights shut down, the chamber went dark, and when backup lights flickered back on, the figure was gone. Only silence remained. Back on the Varnic's edge, the captain received a final message that night. Just one sentence. You found the name, but not the man. He closed his eyes and whispered, so what are we really fighting? But deep inside, he already knew the answer. They were facing something old, something Earth had kept hidden, something the Zarkelians weren't ready for. The night on Earth was calm, but the silence wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, like the pause between heartbeats. High above the planet, in the safety of orbit, the crew of the Varnic's Edge reviewed every recording, every signal, and every unanswered question. Nothing made sense. Nothing followed their known rules of war, and now, one question echoed through the ship, whispered in private corners and passed between nervous officers. Was Earth really ever alone? In the command chamber, the captain stared at the message one more time. You found the name, but not the man. A name without a body, a soldier who appeared and vanished like mist. Terran armor with no heat signatures. Systems that moved on their own, signals that came from nowhere. These were not tricks, not illusions. Something else was happening. The captain called his senior advisors. I want every known file on Terran military history, every contact report, every anomaly. The analysts worked quickly. Most data on early human forces was limited, especially their deep space deployments. The Zarkelian Empire had ignored Earth for centuries until now. Then one of them spoke quietly. There's a pattern. Everyone turned. Every time Earth entered conflict in distant systems, strange things happened. Enemy leaders vanished. Battles ended before they began. Whole fleets disappeared without official records. Are you saying Earth had hidden forces? The captain asked. No, I'm saying Earth had something different, something no other species used. He brought up a symbol again, the same bird of prey inside a circle. Beneath it, a single term, Ghost Protocol. Most of these files are marked as abandoned, the analyst continued, but they all mention a type of soldier, one without official rank or record. These units were designed to operate in silence, not to fight large battles, but to win them, without being seen. The captain narrowed his eyes, and Dane Keller. We believe he wasn't the only one, just the last one still active. At that moment, another alert flashed on the main screen. Not from Earth, from the outer edge of the system. A Zarkelian scout ship sent days ago to watch the human colonies near Mars had just returned, or, more accurately, what was left of it had returned. The ship's frame was drifting, quiet, with no power and no crew response. When a recovery team brought it in, they found no damage, no breaches, no signs of attack. Only one thing was discovered. On the ship's main screen, burned gently into the display with a heat trace too precise to be natural, were the words, "Leave." No explanation. No demand, just a warning. Later that same day, a second Terran message appeared, not hacked into their system, but placed inside it, as if it had always been there. It said, Earth sent explorers, not warriors. But when explorers vanish, protectors arrive. The crew of the Varnic's Edge began to change, not in orders, but in behavior. Some moved slower, some checked their gear more often, and some stopped speaking about victory altogether. But the true break came when the engineering division discovered something chilling. During their orbit over Earth, the ship had been scanned multiple times, not by satellites, not by Earth's official defenses, by something hidden beneath the planet's crust. Old Terran, excellent, buried, and powerful. It never fired, never moved, but it watched them, and it recognized them. You mean Earth planned for this? An officer asked. No, the engineer replied. They prepared, just in case. Then came the final sign. A recorded voice played across every Zarkelian helmet, across all squads still active on Earth's surface. It bypassed encryption. It spoke in perfect clarity. You came here thinking you'd teach Earth a lesson. But now Earth is learning about you. Every step you take, every signal you send, we see it, we record it, and we remember. There was no source, no location, just presence. The captain stood, breathing slow, eyes on the planet far below. He no longer saw Earth as a backwater. He saw something deeper. Earth had grown in silence, watched quietly, prepared alone, and now it had released something the galaxy had forgotten. Not weapons, not armies, but individuals. Trained to disappear. Trained to win without being noticed. Trained to win my voice, I hope. Trained to act when diplomacy failed, and one of them was already here. A name spoken in whispers, Dane Keller. But if one still lived, the question remained. How many more were already awake? The Zarkelians once believed they were the hunters. Now, they couldn't tell if they were still being watched, or if they had already lost without knowing. Asterisk, the stars above Earth held their usual calm glow, but aboard the Varnix's edge, calm was nowhere to be found. Tension filled every corridor, like electricity in the air before a storm. Officers whispered instead of speaking. Engineers checked systems twice. Even the Flame Guard, the most confident warriors in the galaxy, now moved with caution. Everyone was waiting for something to happen, or perhaps they feared something already had. The captain stood alone in the observation chamber, staring down at the blue world below. Earth looked peaceful, quiet, but he no longer trusted the view. Not after what they had seen, not after what they hadn't. A voice broke the silence. Sir, we've received a message, not a broadcast, an insertion. Direct into our system core. He turned slowly. From where? The officer hesitated. We don't know. It bypassed every firewall, every detection layer. No trace of entry. Show me. The screen lit up. This time, it wasn't a voice or a symbol. It was a date. And below that, one sentence. Protocol end. Ghost phase complete. The words held no weapon, no warning. Yet the meaning was clear. Something had finished. But what? Back on Earth, the last remaining squads gathered near a drop zone. The captain had ordered them to prepare for recall. Not a retreat officially, but a temporary extraction. It was the first such order in decades. But just before the recall signal could be sent, a low hum passed through the ship. Lights flickered, not from damage but interference. From the planet below, a signal pulsed upward. One not from a satellite, not from a base, but from under the Earth. It was not a weapon. It didn't attack. Instead, it spoke in clear, ancient galactic standard. Your presence has been logged, your behavior recorded. Access to Earth systems now denied. The crew looked around. Systems began flickering. Not failing, just locking them out. Screens showed the same repeating message. Connection refused. The Earth had shut them out completely. Not with force but controlled. Suddenly, the sky changed. From the far edge of the system, unknown signals approached. Ships in marked silent, and fast entered the system, not from Earth's orbit. Not from Mars. Somewhere deeper, somewhere hidden. One of the officers gasped. Those aren't from known human colonies. They weren't broadcasting identity codes, but each one carried the same design. Black holes. No lights. And the same silver symbol. A bird of prey inside a circle, ghost units. But in ships. The captain stared at the tactical feed. How many? The screen glitched, then recovered. 106. Not warships in the traditional sense. No energy weapons detected, no fleet formation. They moved like shadows, each following its own path. Yet in perfect timing, as the ships drew closer, the Zarkelian flagship prepared to send a greeting, but Earth responded first. A short message appeared across the fleet. Your visit is over. Then came silence. The ghost fleet didn't fire, didn't approach. They simply surrounded the Zarkelian forces in a loose formation, like a net made of absence. And slowly, every Zarkelian system began to fail. Not crash, not explode, just lose control. Navigation became manual. Comms became static. Targeting systems looped endlessly. The captain gave the order, disengage, pull back to deep orbit. But the engines didn't respond. One by one, the ships became still. Then, on the main viewing screen, a final image appeared. The face of the man they had seen before, Dane Keller. No expression, no anger, just calm certainty. And then he spoke, one last time. Earth isn't alone. It never was. You mistook our quiet for weakness. You mistook our silence for fear. But we were always listening, always watching. And when the time came, we acted. The screen faded. And in that final moment, as the ghost fleet pulled back and vanished just as mysteriously as it arrived, the Varnix's edge found its systems returning. Not destroyed, not harmed, just reminded. The ship slowly turned, heading back towards Zarkelian space, carrying not defeat but understanding. An empire had met its first mystery. It could not solve. Earth had shown no grand fleet, no world-ending weapon. Instead, it showed them something more powerful, people who didn't need to be seen to win. And far below, on Earth, somewhere deep beneath old soil, a man walked quietly through a tunnel of silent lights. Dane Keller. No one knew how long he'd been there, and no one knew how many like him were still out there. But the galaxy would remember, not because Earth made them, but because next time, they wouldn't be warned.